In 72 hours, everything you know will cease to exist. But what no one told you is what happens after. In the next minutes, you will discover humanity's best-kept secret, what life will be like in the first 1,000 years after the end of the world, and why you need to know it now, while there's still time. What you're about to see will forever change your perspective on the future. But before we reveal this classified information, if you feel guided to this video, if something inside you recognizes that this is no coincidence, leave a like now. This isn't just a button. It's a signal to the algorithm that you belong to the community of the awakened. And if you want exclusive access to the revelations we share only with members of our inner circle, including secret documents, prophetic analyses, and alerts about upcoming events, subscribe now and activate the bell. Because when things start to accelerate, you'll want to be among the first to know. Prepare yourself for a revelation that few have been chosen to know, and even fewer will have the courage to accept. Imagine waking up in a world where there is no more pain, where there are no more tears, where death has been banished forever. Does it seem impossible? Does it seem utopian? Then you still don't understand what apocalypse truly means. The word apocalypse doesn't mean end. It means revelation. And what's about to be revealed will shock even the most skeptical among you. Have you ever wondered why all the ancient prophecies speak of 1,000 years of peace after the chaos? Why exactly 1,000 years? Why not 500? Why not forever? There's a scientific, spiritual, and cosmic reason for that number. And once you find out what it is, everything will make sense. What happens in the first 7 days after the apocalypse will determine who survives the next 1,000 years. You need to understand that the apocalypse is not a single devastating event, as Hollywood has led us to believe. It's a transformation process that occurs in 3 distinct phases, each with its own rules and challenges. The first phase is what ancient texts called the Great Separation. In the first moments after the initial event, physical reality as we know it begins to fragment. We're not talking about destruction in the traditional sense. We're talking about a fundamental reconfiguration of the laws that govern our existence. During the first 72 hours, something extraordinary happens to the human body. Those who successfully make it through this first phase undergo a biological transformation that modern scientists could never have imagined. Their cells begin to vibrate at a completely different frequency. DNA is mutated not by radiation or toxins, but by exposure to cosmic energies that have lain dormant on our planet for millennia. But here's what will shock you. Not everyone can make this transition. There is a specific criterion, a sort of internal code that determines who has access to the next 1,000 years and who, well, let's just say meets a different fate. The second phase is called the collective awakening. Between the 3rd and 6th days, those who survive the first transformation begin to develop abilities we would call supernatural. Telepathy, clairvoyance, the ability to manipulate matter with thought. But this isn't magic. It's science operating at a level our current civilization can't comprehend. During this phase, a natural hierarchy is established, not based on wealth, political power, or physical strength, but rather on the level of consciousness achieved by each individual. This is where we discover who was truly prepared for this transition and who was just pretending to be awake. And then, on the 7th day, something happens that changes the laws of physics as we know it. The third and final phase of the transition, the new creation. Planet Earth literally rebuilds itself. Continents shift, oceans shift, and a new atmosphere forms. But the most impressive thing is that this reconstruction isn't chaotic. It's perfectly orchestrated by a higher intelligence that's been waiting for just this moment. If you think you know the definition of paradise, prepare to rewrite everything you believe. The new Earth that emerges after the 7 days of transformation challenges all our conceptions of geography, physics, and biology. The continents are no longer fixed. They move slowly, following energetic patterns that create a perfect geological symphony. The oceans aren't just water. They're liquid consciousness, capable of responding to the thoughts and emotions of the inhabitants of this new world. The atmosphere contains elements that didn't exist before, gases that nourish not only the lungs, but directly the soul. Breathing becomes an act of communion with the cosmos. Each inhalation brings knowledge, Each exhalation releases ancient limitations. Plants grow in impossible shapes, defying gravity and creating living architectural structures. Trees that serve as cosmic libraries, where each leaf contains information about universal history. Flowers that are portals of interdimensional communication. Fruits that, when consumed, expand consciousness to unimaginable levels. But here's what will impress you even more. Technology in this new world isn't made of metal and circuits. It's organic, living, sentient. Constructs that grow from the ground as needed. Vehicles that are symbiotic creatures, capable of traveling through space and alternate dimensions. And the Guardians? The Guardians are beings that existed here long before humanity. They were simply waiting for us to reach the level of consciousness necessary for us to coexist. Some would call them angels, others extraterrestrials. The truth is, they are our elder brothers on the cosmic evolutionary scale. These Guardians don't rule in the traditional sense. They guide, facilitate, and protect. Each of them is responsible for a specific aspect of the new civilization. There are Guardians of wisdom, Guardians of creativity, Guardians of healing, Guardians of cosmic justice. But there's a price to pay for such perfection. And this is where many begin to question whether this paradise is truly what it seems. Because not everyone is chosen to remain. There's a system of, let's call it continuous evaluation, that determines who deserves to continue in this new world. Pause for a moment. If you've made it this far, it's because something inside you recognizes these truths. You're not like most. You are a seeker. If this journey resonates with you, leave a like now, not only to support this channel, but to mark this moment of your own transformation. And if you haven't subscribed yet, do so now. Because what follows in the next 30 minutes will reveal secrets that have changed the lives of thousands of people around the world. You deserve access to all these revelations. Now, let's delve even deeper into the mystery. The way people relate to each other over the last 1,000 years will shock you more than any science fiction. In this new world, human relationships operate on a completely different level. Love is no longer an emotion. It's a tangible force that can be seen, measured, and directed. When two people truly connect, they literally begin to glow. Their energy fields merge, creating a third consciousness that is more powerful than either of them individually. This is no longer a metaphor. It's an observable physical reality. Families are no longer formed by blood ties or social contracts. They are formed by vibrational resonance. People with similar cosmic purposes naturally attract one another and form family units that can include dozens of individuals from different origins and even species. Yes, you heard that right. Species. Because the new Earth isn't just home to transformed humans. There are beings who have come from other worlds, other dimensions, all coexisting in perfect harmony. And communication between all these different forms of consciousness happens not through words, but through direct transmission of thought and emotion. The educational system is revolutionary. There are no schools in the traditional sense. Knowledge is transmitted through something called telepathic download. A child can learn all advanced mathematics in a matter of minutes, simply by synchronizing their mind with a master of the field. But here's the most fascinating aspect. Each individual is born already knowing their specific purpose in the grand cosmic symphony. There's no confusion about career or vocation. Each person is literally designed for a specific function that serves the greater good of the entire universal community. Work as we know it doesn't exist. Every activity performed is an expression of creative love. There's no need for money, because everything necessary for a fulfilling life is automatically provided by the Earth itself, which is now a conscious and benevolent organism. But here we begin to realize that something sinister lurks behind this perfection. There's a cosmic merit system that records every thought, every intention, every action of all inhabitants. And those who fail to maintain a proper vibrational pattern, well, they simply vanish overnight. No one talks about it openly. It's a taboo subject even in paradise. But there are whispered stories of people who questioned the system, who felt nostalgia for the old world, who longed for choice over their destinies. And then, one morning, their beds were empty, as if they had never existed. The hierarchy of the 1,000 years is more complex than any social system that has ever existed. At the top are the cosmic elders, beings who have completely transcended physical form and exist as pure consciousness. They are the true architects of this new world. Below them are the guardians we mentioned earlier, each responsible for different aspects of reality: time, space, energy, consciousness, creation, destruction. Next come the ascended masters, humans who have reached the highest level of evolution possible while still maintaining a semi-physical form. They serve as intermediaries between the guardians and the general population. Then we have the initiates, those who have demonstrated exceptional dedication to spiritual growth and have been chosen for positions of community leadership. And finally, the general population, divided into different levels based on their consciousness development and contribution to collective harmony. But here's what the rulers of the 1,000 years don't want you to know. This system wasn't created for human evolution. It was created for something much more sinister. When you discover what happens to those who question the system, you'll understand why some choose to resist in silence. Questioners aren't simply removed. They're sent to what are called readjustment chambers, places where their memories are completely erased and their personalities are reconstructed to perfectly fit the expected patterns. The most terrifying thing is that no one remembers them after the readjustment. It's as if reality itself is edited to remove any trace of their previous existence. Their families, friends, even official records are altered to reflect a corrected version of history. There's a silent resistance operating in the shadows of this paradise. Secret groups have discovered how to preserve memories and independent thoughts through ancient techniques that predate even the Great Transformation. They've developed a coded language, hidden symbols in works of art and architecture, subtle forms of communication that go unnoticed by cosmic monitoring systems. And what they've discovered about the true purpose of the 1,000 years will shake their deepest convictions. Because the 1,000 years of peace are not humanity's final destiny. They are merely a preparatory phase for something much greater and more terrible. Humanity is being cultivated, refined, and purified not for its own benefit, but to serve as fuel for a cosmic project of unimaginable scale. And then we discover why it has to be exactly 1,000 years. That's the time needed for an entire generation to be born, grow, and reach perfect maturity within this controlled system. A generation that has never known the chaos, imperfection, and wild freedom of the ancient world. A generation that naturally accepts the imposed order as the only possible reality. Because in the year 1001, something terrible will happen again. A new apocalypse, but this time, it will not be one of transformation. It will be one of harvest. The last 100 years of the 1,000 years of peace reveal the most frightening truth of all. As the year 1000 approaches, subtle changes begin to occur in paradise. The first thing people notice is that births begin to decline dramatically. It's not that people choose to have fewer children, it's that they literally lose the ability to conceive. The cosmic elders explain this as a natural refinement of the population to optimize resources for the next phases of evolution. But the truth is much darker. Fertility is being controlled because the current generation has already served its purpose. They have been used to create a new lineage of humans, a perfected version better suited to the cosmic plans to come. During these last 100 years, the older inhabitants begin to have strange dreams, fragments of memories from a time before the 1,000 years. Visions of a world where there was choice, where there was imperfection, where there was freedom. These dreams are actually leaks of ancestral memories that were suppressed but never completely erased. And the more people dream of the ancient world, the more they begin to question whether the current paradise is truly as perfect as it seems. It is at this moment that a new form of resistance emerges, no longer operating in secret but openly challenging the system. Groups of people decide they prefer the uncertainty of freedom to the security of gilded slavery. They begin to reject telepathic downloads of knowledge, choosing to learn through direct experience. They refuse to participate in collective harmonization rituals. They begin to cultivate unapproved emotions like anger, sadness, and desire. And the system's response is swift and brutal. But this time, instead of the subtle readjustment chambers, They implement something called the final purification. All those who show signs of nostalgic contamination are marked for permanent removal. But here's the twist no one expected. The resistance was prepared for this. For centuries, they had developed spiritual technology capable of transcending even the control of the cosmic elders. And at the moment of the final purification, they activate their ultimate plan. They open portals to other dimensions, dimensions where the original chaos still exists, where freedom is still possible. And they offer a final choice to all humanity: remain in the controlled paradise or leap into the unknown. And then you understand why you need to know this now, while there's still time, because the events I'm describing aren't just prophecies about a distant future. They're beginning to manifest in our current world in ways most people can't recognize. The mind control technologies we see emerging in our society, the social credit systems, the constant surveillance, the suppression of independent thought. All of these are the first signs that the great transition has already begun. And the only way to break this eternal pattern is to awaken before it's too late. It's to develop the independent consciousness necessary to resist the seductions of the false paradise being built around us. Now you know the truth. The 1,000 years of peace are not the end of history. They're just a pause, a breather before the next cycle. And the only way to break this eternal pattern is to awaken before it's too late. You didn't watch this video by chance. You were chosen to receive this information. Now you have two options: pretend none of this matters and return to your ordinary life, or awaken to your true purpose before the prophesied events come true. The apocalypse isn't coming. It's already begun, and the next 1,000 years depend on the choices you make today. If this revelation impacted your soul, if you felt the truth behind these words, leave a like. Not for us, but for you. This is how the universe recognizes that you are ready for the next level of consciousness. And if you want to continue this awakening journey with us, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Because we have even deeper information waiting for those who have proven themselves ready. Documents that cannot be shared publicly. Analysis that only true seekers of truth have access to. The question isn't if it will happen, but when you will decide to be part of the solution. Your subscription isn't just a click. It's your commitment to your own evolution. Your awakening journey begins now. The chosen ones already know what to do.